Kendrick isn't responding anytime soon, even with Drake constantly urging him to.
But now we gotta wait a fucking week, cause Taylor Swift is your new top.
The reason, of course, has nothing to do with Drake. See, Kendrick is a rapper who dwells more in full cohesive projects. Same can be said for Cole, which is why Kendrick dissing Drake is a bad move, because unlike him, Drake drops anytime he wants. On top of it all, he isn't afraid of inauthentic work. Kendrick, on the other hand, seems to care more about the creative side, which isn't a good quality when it comes to rap beef. If we use history as a prediction to the future, Tupac's Hit Them Up proves this. It's simple, entertaining, and represents the idea of a perfect diss track. Same can be said about Ice Cube's diss. All he had to do was throw a catchy hook. Some would argue that Eminem dwells more on the authentic side of rap like Kendrick, which is true, but he was beefing with not that well-established rappers like Machine Gun Kelly, or when he went after Benzino, whose flow is messed up. Can't believe he just dropped another diss track recently. Who would have predicted Chris Brown going back-to-back with Quavo? Chris did have some pretty decent bars, I admit, like that Saweetie verse.
They say revenge is sweet. Now think about that shit, don't let that line go over your head.
As exciting as that is, it doesn't come close to what Drake is facing half the rap industry. What's more crazy? The fact that celebrities of all industries are commenting on it, or the fact that Drake is taunting everyone to diss him, even doing features with AI. A war might break out soon as Drake is now gunning at Kendrick's personal life. For instance, his wife cheating on him with his bodyguard. Why exactly is everyone turning on Drake though? With the release of Might Delete Later by J. Cole, Drake seemed to have had a strong ally until things went south and the unexpected happened. At a Dreamville's tour, Cole apologized for dissing Kendrick.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I moved in a way that I spiritually feel bad on me.
As we all know by now, rap doesn't go hand in hand with spiritual moves. As a matter of fact, Cole just taught us exactly what not to do in a rap beef. He featured on Metro Boomin's latest album with Future, where he claims that he was never really bragging about being the #1 rapper. Ironic, right? Especially since he bragged about having a particular set of skills that qualifies him for the best rapper position. The apology undoubtedly added more gain on Kendrick's side, seeing as the long series of Kendrick beefs ended with the other parties apologizing, starting from Jay Electronica to now our very own Jermaine Lamar Cole. Which brings me back to the actual topic. Why is everyone, including rap fans, turning on Drake? The answer traces back to the blueprint of his entire career. Starting off with his sensitive behavior, a trait that isn't well welcomed in the rap industry, all the way to his moral compass screwing with his boss's ex. But before we get into that, hit that like button as it really helps push the video. After Kendrick's verse on Big Sean's Track Control verse, a lot of egos were bruised with most rappers dissing Kendrick afterwards. Though there were some that took it polite like Mac Miller and J. Cole, the one person that took it the worst was Drake. Both Drake and J. Cole have one thing in common. They both at some point had taken Kendrick under their wing. With that being said, Drake might have felt betrayed by what he felt like his close circle, forcing him to go on various interviews bashing Kendrick's name.
That verse was a moment to talk about. Are you listening to it now?
Keep in mind Drake was by then a far more established rapper than Kendrick, with massive albums under his belt. Kendrick was just getting started, with only one established album, which was a classic propelled by a Drake feature. So, yeah, Drake's confidence was off the roof. The same can be said for The Weeknd's fallout with Drake. Drake in his entire career has only taken one artist completely under his mentorship, and that's none other than our very own The Weeknd. Earlier in The Weeknd's career, the duo commonly featured on each other's tracks, something Drake had never done before until then, unless of course he benefits largely or the artist is most likely to be the next big wave. The fallout came about after The Weeknd completely 360'd on Drake, a move that has bruised October's very own till date, and that's cause he was pictured to be one of the other big names under his label, a strategic move that most record labels do, for example TDE signing the young Kendrick, Death Row signing Tupak Shakur, and many more of course. The Drake-Weeknd relationship wasn't so one-sided as exposed by The Weeknd on a tweet. He typed that he's given away nearly half an album to Drake, and that's why his tracks sound like The Weeknd featuring The Weeknd. The last part of the tweet being a direct mockery to Drake's 5 AM in Toronto.
That's why every song sound like Drake featuring Drake, straight.
Since then, there has been numerous leaks of songs ghostwritten by The Weeknd, which bring me to arguably one of the main reasons Drake hasn't been received well in the industry. Kanye West is the only other well-established rapper that uses ghostwriters way more than Drake. Still, he faces no backlash from that, but that's only because he is respected as more of a producer than a rapper, unlike Drake, whose braggadocious lyrics directly contradicts to his actions. Following these accusations, anyone with balls came after him, with huge rappers throwing hidden jabs at Drake. It was the exact moment Drake's hate towards Kendrick was rekindled. This time, however, isn't much like first time they beefed. Kendrick was no longer the fresh upcoming rapper, but had a set catalogue with massive tracks under his belt, scoring amazing features with huge names like Rihanna and Zay. Drake's discography, on the other hand, remained impressive, but not from a rap perspective. Over the years, Drake had adapted to what sounded like other song genres, like Afro beats and pop among others, not to mention his failed Jamaican accent.
Man's never been in marquee with a shutdown, eh? Trust me, daddy.
Which brings me to the reason number 3, Drake is too zesty for a rapper. Let's begin with the time he decided to recreate a fake NBA moment in his crib just to film himself tearing through the defenders. Or being the only male rapper to beef with female rappers endlessly, something not most talk about. It doesn't end here, he allegedly only beefs with the ones that turned him down. What recently got people pissed more were his sneak disses towards Megan Thee Stallion, where he quotes, "This B lies about taking shots but is still a stallion," which is ironic cause Drake had been beefing with Tory long before he got sentenced to 9 wires in jail. This sparked a controversial moment in hip-hop, and the spotlight was once again on Megan Thee Stallion. At first, Megan didn't seem convinced that this was aimed towards her, but with people spamming her page with comments, she eventually gave in. Megan, unlike most, clapped back louder, tweeting, "Stop using my shooting for clout, since when is it cool to joke about women getting shot?" Of course, Lil Yachty stepped in later in a video where he clears that it's all a misunderstanding. Nothing changed, of course, cause the damage was already long done. How Drake has handled his past beef is also a huge determinant. While he won against Meek Mill, he tried his best to avoid Pusha T's heat, maybe because it appeared really personal after he got exposed for having a kid. Not just with any person, but with an ex-Corn star. Rick Ross, Drake's former frequent collaborator, has recently enlisted himself on Kendrick's side. Not on a basis of picking Kendrick over Drake, but because they all share something in common: hate towards Drake. His beef with Drake has been on ever since he sent a personal invite to Rick's ex, Christina. Christina herself went on a rampage against Rick Ross, which understandably birthed more problems. What's crazy is that this was not the first time he's done such. As a matter of fact, the very guy who gave him a career, Lil Wayne, became a victim of his plots. When Lil Wayne was sentenced in prison, Drake took the chance and had sex with his ex-girlfriend. Shortly after, he would confess this to Lil Wayne before his release date. Maybe the recent betrayals he's experienced is just karma manifesting itself, and again, that's just a speculation. A similar situation is said to have caused the fallout with Future. A more valid reason is Drake's relation to 21 Savage. I'm sure you already know more on that, so I'll leave it there. Drake's scheme is now deemed predictable, with up-and-coming artists expecting his approach at some point in their career.
Like definitely Drake, I was low-key waiting for him.
And for sure he does come through. I can't say I'm certain on his intentions with his approach, as from past occurrence the ladies seem to like him. Kendrick, on the other hand, has managed to leave a less controversial life, allowing few into his closer circle. He's had good relationships with his female fans and fellow artists too, a characteristic Drake lacks in abundance. While Drake's core fan base consists of both pop and rap fans, Kendrick's fan base is mostly isolated within the rap genre, which understandably is the reason people are siding with him over Drake. The ball is now on Kendrick's side. Will he deliver? Or is all this just another public stunt to revive the rap industry? To get a better dive on that, click the video on the screen.